go ahead and get this meeting started here. We got we tried to put the meeting this week at 9 o'clock to try to avoid A&R at 10 o'clock because we have 6 members that have to be there, but then we have 5 members that are in education, which started at 8:30. So we're still juggling, but I believe we can get a quorum here. So, Mr. Secretary, please call roll.
Representative Blanton.
Present in the room.
Representative Dossett. Representative Duplessis. Representative Freeland.
Here.
Okay. Thank you.
Present in the room.
Representative Fugit.
Here in the room.
Representative Gentry.
I am present in my annex office.
Thank you. Representative Gooch.
I'm present in my annex office.
Thank you. Representative Hart. Representative Cook.
Here in the room.
Representative Lewis. Representative Maddox. Representative Massey. Representative Minter. Representative Sharp.
Present in the room.
Representative Stevenson. Representative Tackett Lafferty. Representative Wesley.
In the room.
Representative Wheatley.
Here.
Representative McCool.
Here.
Chair Thomas.
Present. Did we make it? Barely. Now we'll have some coming in and out and things too, so hopefully we'll be able to maintain a quorum too. So at this time, we're going to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then please remain standing as Brother Fugit leads us in prayer.
Let's pray together, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for a brand new day that you've given us to be able to live. And Lord, thank you for the opportunities you give us to be able to serve you and to serve our people across Kentucky. And Lord, I pray today in this meeting that we would be granted your wisdom, Lord, to make decisions that would be a help to our people. We pray, Lord, for our military, our first responders, those that are keeping us safe. I pray that you'd bless them today. And Lord, we remember the families of those that have lost loved ones in the last little bit. Lord, I pray for the sick, especially Brother Richard White. Lord, that you'd help him today and bless him and touch his body. Well, thank you for it, Lord. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
All right, before we get started and honor our distinguished guests, which we're so glad you're here, I do want to mention next Tuesday is Veterans Military Kids Day, Military Kids Day. So anybody that has military kids or so, please invite them. I think this Friday is the last day to sign up, but it's going to be a fun day. They're going to be sitting in on this committee. So next week, the committee will be back at 10 o'clock, and they have scavenger hunts and all kinds of different things. I think General Lamberton's going to be speaking with them. So it's going to be a fun event. That's next Tuesday. I think it starts at 9, and they'll be here kind of into session and everything too. So as you see military kids running around, please make them feel welcome. All right, at this time, we do have a distinguished guest, and I will refer to Representative Sharp to introduce him.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. I'm got the distinct pleasure of introducing our distinguished guest, Mike Ward, and who was a veteran of the Air Force. He started his police career in the United States Air Force as a security policeman and has been involved in the military and Kentucky law enforcement for more than 40 years. In the Air Force, he served with the 321st Security Police Squadron, 319th Bomb Group, Grand Forks Air Force Base, North Dakota, from 78 until 80. He then was sent to the 7061st Munitions Support Squadron at Air Base in Greece. In both assignments, he performed duties protecting aircraft and munitions to include, but not limited to, Priority A resources. And that's a way of saying something, nuclear weapons. So in 1982, after leaving active duty, he spent the next 7 years with the 906 Tactical Fighter Group, Weapons Systems Security Flight at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio. There he performed many duties, including teaching Air Base ground defense to security police within the 10th Air Force Reserve. In the Commonwealth, he spent 16 years in Crescent Springs in Kenton County, Kentucky, where he rose to the rank of Chief of Police. In 2001, he was appointed to the Chief of the Alexandria Police Department and retired from there in February of 2019. At this time, with Alexandria, he managed to guide the police department through many positive changes. The most notable is the establishment of a new police social worker program. It was the first in Kentucky. He constantly strived to develop and implement technological advancements in law enforcement, as well as community programs for the public, to include the department's volunteers and police services program and VIPS in schools to help keep kids safe, and the Angel program to help with those addicted to opiates. Today, he works as a contractor with the U.S. Department of Justice, the International Criminal Investigation Training Assistance Program, and teaches police reform to the national police in the Ukraine. He recently joined the Campbell County Sheriff's Department and is working with the chiefs and sheriffs in Northern Kentucky to create the Northern Kentucky Police and Sheriff's Training Center, which will conduct KLEC certified in-service training. Some of the accomplishments Mr. Ward has achieved is he studied at Northern Kentucky University in a criminal justice program. He's a graduate of the FBI's National Academy, the Kentucky Leadership Institute School of Strategic Leadership, the Criminal Justice Executive Development Program, the first class to go through. He appointed by 3 different governors to the Kentucky Law Enforcement Council, where he currently is the vice chair. In 2015, he was an inductee to the Kentucky Veterans Hall of Fame. He's appointed to the International IACP.
Association of Chiefs.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. The International Association of Chiefs of Police, to the Forensic Science Committee. He's also the International Association of Chiefs of Police New Chiefs Mentoring Program, and also the National Pretrial Working Group for the International Associations of the Chiefs of Police. He's a past member of the Northern Kentucky Mental Health Court Board, instrumental in establishing the Northern Kentucky Veterans Court, and now serves as Boone County, Kenton County, and Campbell County. Past president of the Kentucky Association of Chiefs of Police, the 2003 Governor's Award for Outstanding Contributions to Kentucky Law Enforcement, the 2009 Kentucky Association of Chiefs of Police Chief of the Year Award, and the Kentucky Office of Homeland Security Award for Outstanding Leadership. But most importantly, he's married to Carol for 30 years, who's sitting in the back. And he has 3 daughters, Elizabeth, Kimberly, and Zeman. And Zeman has a very interesting story, and I will let Mr. Ward talk about that.
Zeman came to us at 16 years of age from Baghdad, Iraq. She was burned over 40% of her body due to coalition force. Something happened with the
Mr.
coalition.
Ward, is there the green light on?
Yes, sir, it's on.
It is? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Pull it just a little closer to you. I just want to make sure we have some people out there that
Is
might
that
not
better?
be able to. That is perfect. Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
She was burned, as I said, over 40% of her body. And she came here. We were to be her host family, so that Shriners Hospital in Cincinnati could perform the necessary skin grafts and surgery, laser surgery that needed to perform. She was burned on her face, her arms, her hands, her chest. I've got to give my wife Carol credit because she spent many hours during the day changing bandages and rubbing bacitracin onto the wounds, sometimes 3-4 times a day during that period. The Muqtada al-Sadr group killed her father for allowing her to come to the land of the infidels to get medical treatment. And we got a panicked phone call from her mother begging us not to send her home. Didn't know what to do at the time, but thank goodness Congressman Jeff Davis stepped in and helped out. And today, Zeman is a U.S. citizen, and she lives in Charlotte, North Carolina, works in the retail industry. She lives there with our youngest daughter, Kimberly, who is a paramedic for Charlotte, Mecklenburg County. And she's doing really well. So she is definitely our third daughter. So,
Well, thank you, sir. We love that story. I mean, as Representative Sharp just rattled off all the things you've accomplished in life, nothing can mean more than just parenting. I mean, here you are, have two wonderful kids that you've helped, and we appreciate you for doing that also. So
thank you.
we have a little token on behalf of Veterans Military Affairs.
thank
Oh, I'm sorry. Representative Wheatley.
Sir.
Chief, thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being such a incredible representative of law enforcement in Northern Kentucky in your whole career. You know, in my time as fire chief of Covington, you were, I believe, at Alexandria at that time, and you know, you are a legend in our area. And here you are, still doing all the work, still as involved as law enforcement typically are. You know, even past retirement. It's an honor that we are honoring you here today, and this is a small token, as the chair has indicated. But thank you for being here, and thank you for representing Northern Kentucky like you do, and you will continue to do. And for Kimberly, she's in the right place, and I think Zeman is too. So thank you.
Thank you much.
Thank you. We have questions from Representative Massey.
Not a question, just a comment. We go back a long way. Chief, I remember the nights that we rode together. I think I did a ride along with you at Crescent Springs when I served on the fire department EMS there.
Are the statute of limitations up?
I think so.
Okay.
So we had many late discussions, and I certainly appreciate your contributions to the communities that you have served, and that's how I got to know you, and we became dear friends. So I appreciate all that you've done for Northern Kentucky. You know, I've often had to throw your name around, not to get out of tickets, but to throw your name around just because you have such great influence, especially not only in the police world, but also among the courts. And that's a really big thing in our area. The drug courts and the veterans courts are really a big way for us to deal with our dockets and problems. So we're very grateful for you. I think you're certainly a person of honor, and we wanted to bring you here today to have you be able to give your story to this committee and for people to see it and be memorialized. So we appreciate you. I personally appreciate you, and thank you for not only our friendship but our long-standing history together. And thank you for your great words today.
It was good to see you. Thanks.
Thank you, Representative Massey. Representative Cook.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Thanks for being here. Pretty incredible story, but I'm going to change directions here, take a pretty sharp left turn. I heard one word in your bio that made me very interested, and that was Ukraine.
Yes.
Just wondering if you had any comments or on the current situation going on.
You know, I've been over there in the last 3 years about 8 or 9 times. Most recently was back in May and June of 21. I was in the city of Kharkiv teaching instructor development courses, and Kharkiv is about 28 miles from the Russian border proper. The Ukrainians have a sense of nationality like no other. And when I spent some time down in the Dnipro region, which is south about 100 miles from Crimea, and there in Dnipro, 350,000 men and women went to fight the Russians when they invaded in 2015, and they stopped them. And they stopped them with very little arms. They just basically had small arms, but they stopped them. And my guess is if the Russians were to invade, they're not going to make it easy for them. They're gonna do everything they can to stop them, because they will fight. There's no question in my mind that they just will not lay over. The young people over there, anybody under the age of 40 is starving for reform and change. It's my generation that grew up under the Cold War that is still very untrusting and hesitant of the West because they grew up under that, the Soviet mentality. But for the most part, they get out, they travel, they see what the rest of the world is like, and they want to be like the West. And they will do everything they can, in my opinion, to fight that.
And thank you. I know everybody, myself, along with everybody else, is following that situation very closely, and just appreciate your insight on that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Representative Cook. Want to thank you, Representative Sharp, for bringing our distinguished guest today, and thank you for your service to the country and certainly to the family. Thank you for everything you're doing, and thank you for your time. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it very much. Thank you all.
Okay. This time we'd like to call up Representative Bridges. Representative, if you go introduce yourself and go ahead and provide your testimony. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members. I'm Representative Randy Bridges, and I represent the 3rd House District. I appreciate the opportunity to be with you today and share with you about House Bill 196, an act relating to swimming pool standards, better known as Ava's Law. I feel like I'm at home. I think this is the 3rd time I've presented this bill. In committee, end of last session, we ran out of time, and then over the interim. But before I get to the details of House Bill 196, as I've told you before, there's a story to be told, but it's not my story. So if it pleases the chair, I would like to introduce Carrie and Brian Jenkins. I have them on video, on virtual on Zoom today, and ask them to share their story, and that's how I came about to be involved in this bill.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Can we have the video?
Hello, I'm Brian Jenkins, and this is my wife, Carrie Jenkins. Thank you for having us. Thank you for hearing us. Our story starts with a beautiful little girl. We want to put something out in place where this doesn't seem to happen. You always think that bad things happen to bad people, but bad things happen to good people. And we just want to prevent the loss that we've experienced. We want to hopefully prevent that from happening to anyone else. Drowning is a leading cause of death in children under the age of 4. And there's just not enough, I guess, anything put in place to protect not only the homeowner, but also the curious children who might get away from you in a blink of an eye. But I mean, we could see from our house in our backyard, we can see the pool that she had climbed over a ladder and jumped in. If the ladder had not have been there, I know that there's a lot of regulations and things on in-ground pools, and people put fences around those all the time, and gates that are locked and have to be open from the inside and not the outside. But this was just a simple ladder that could have been removed from the above ground pool. I know that we have, from the very beginning, we've taken fault at this too. It's not only our fault, it's also homeowners that just need to do what to protect themselves also. But that little girl, she lived big, she loved big, she never met a stranger. And, I feel like my youngest son, he's lost his best friend, So, and we've suffered a huge loss, and we just want to prevent any other kind of tragedy that might happen to other families, possibly in the same way it may have happened with us. But that's what I've got.
Brian and Carrie, I appreciate your brave testimony today and the way you're willing to be transparent and open up your lives to the public. Ava Grace Jenkins was 2 years old when she wandered next door to a pool that had been recently installed and climbed up in it. She loved to swim. She had her 3.5-year-old brother with her. And it's just one of them where you blink your eye and a child disappears. And I talked to our local sheriff, and he's assured me there was no wrongdoing here, and that Brian and Carrie have suffered immensely. It's something no parent should have to go through. And what I bring before you here today is House Bill 196, and it not only protects children, but it also protects the homeowner. There's a different twist to this bill that I realized, or a different backstory. There is a form of law that's called the 10 years element to attractive nuisance. So if a homeowner has an attractive nuisance that would entice a child under 14 years old to come onto that land, then the homeowner has a responsibility to protect that child even though they are trespassing. And the courts in Kentucky have historically recognized this, so that is considered common law. And then it's also codified in KRS 381-231 as far as having something that would be an attractive part, a desire that would put a temptation to a young child to come over to your property. And we are responsible for that. So this law has got a twofold effect. First, it not only protects the children, but it also protects the homeowner. There's 30 states that have residential pool statutes. 3 surround Kentucky. And as Brian shared with you, nationally, children under the age of 14 years old that drown, 77% are under the age of 5 years old, 4 years and under. And that is the leading cause of death of children that age. So there is a need. I feel like 196, it's got just a couple of things to bring back to the table. In-ground pools and above-ground pools with heights less than 48 inches would be required to install a fence with a self-latching gate and a self-closing gate. Above ground pools above 48 inches, that 48-inch wall would consider to be a barrier. So they would be required to have the ladders that go into those pools to either be removed or have a cover to put on them to be locked. And if they do have a deck or something built around them, then the 48 inches would be required around the deck or a gate to the steps. With that, the other thing about that, we've tried to make this as most convenient to homeowners as possible. So the walls of the dwelling, or say an exterior garage, could be part of that enclosure, and the fence would just have to run from building to building to enclose that backyard. It also requires in 2008, there was a federal law called the Virginia Ground-Baker Act that requires manufacturers a certain degree of safety measures to be on all things installed. So above ground pool ladders, anything manufactured after, I think it's 2010, requires that the ladder be removable or have a cover to be placed on it to be lockable. This pool that Ava Grace died in had that ladder, and if we'd had the law there, in place, the homeowners would have known about it, and I feel like that ladder would have either been removed or locked in place so that she could not have accessed that pool. So a lot of this is already in place. We just got to put the statute in there to enforce those procedures. There are a couple other things about it. I guess the big thing is if a pool has a safety ladder, a safety cover that self-closes it, then that could be closed each time the pool's not in use. They wouldn't be required to have a fence. Or if we put a farm exemption in where someone with 10 contiguous acres onto that would not be required. So that's it in a nutshell. I appreciate you allowing me to testify today.
Motion on the bill.
Second.
I have a motion, and I'm not sure where the second. Representative Duplessis. All right, I think there are some questions or so, at least one. Representative Freeland, you were just making a motion, weren't you? Okay. So I believe Representative Gentry, and I believe he's on Zoom. So go ahead, Representative Gentry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And first of all, I guess before I ask my question, I just want to reach out to Mr. and Ms. Jenkins, and I remember your testimony last year. Very, very sorry for your tragedy, and really respect the fact that you're advocating for safety. I don't think there's anybody here in Frankfort that doesn't want to see, improvements in safety, and especially in situations like this. And I know sometimes in bills like this, it seems real easy, but one or two words can create unintended consequences. So I appreciate your patience and have to go back and continue to push a bill like this. But as far as the question, Representative Bridges, I wanted to ask a question regarding the fine provision, which is on the last page. I believe it's line 6 on the last page. And where it talks about enforcement, and it says that a fine shall be assessed if there is a violation. I guess my question is, and again, I'm coming from Jefferson County in Louisville area, where we have a metro government with a code enforcement department. And typically what happens with several code enforcements is the objective is compliance, less so than automatic fining. And what often code enforcers find is people don't even know they're in violation sometimes, and they are cited and asked to get into compliance very quickly. And then if there's repeated compliance or not complying with a citation, so to speak, a fine then is often rendered. And I was wondering if the word may instead of shall might be more appropriate to give local code enforcement authority to know when to assess a fine and when not to. Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, our objective here is to protect the children who doesn't know time, money, dollars, anything. It just, so expedience is our objective here. But I would be willing to discuss that with you, maybe look at a floor amendment if necessary to adjust that so that local authorities can have a part in that. And here again, a lot of cities and towns, some counties have codes already in place, but there's many of them who do not. And so we're just trying to put an urgency on this, but we did not ask for an emergency order or anything of that nature. So, but I appreciate your comments, and I'll be willing to work with you on that if there's some adjustments need to be made.
Okay. I appreciate the answer. I just think that, perhaps it might be wise to provide a little bit of latitude there for the regulators to know when to enforce on a day-to-day basis. But we'll talk about that. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Gentry. Next, I think we have Representative Maddox.
Yes, Representative Bridges, I just had a question. in consideration of this bill, understanding that right now, if folks who currently have a pool in their yard are going to be faced with having 120 days to construct a barrier with cost of $15 to $25 per linear foot, and that varies, shortage of materials, it brought to mind another question. When we're talking about attractive nuisances, some landowners have begun to construct these ponds, and I'm sure everybody here has seen them, that have chemicals in them that make them quite an attractive color of blue, and the sole purpose of those ponds is for bathing or swimming or recreational activities. And I just wondered if that's something that would be included in this as well, or when I see that we also have in layman's terms, kiddie pools in here, the portable pools that have to be dumped out. But, where do you draw the line between an attractive nuisance, in so much as if you're using one of those portable pools for some type of livestock purpose, or, for chickens or anything like that? Where do we draw the line? I just think that there's some issues with that component of it. And I guess my question is, would those ponds on people's land, would those be included in this if their sole purpose is for swimming?
If they are a swimming pool, they would be addressed. If they're not a swimming pool, they wouldn't. That's why we also put the 10 acres for the farms in here. We're not looking to inhibit farmers, the ponds, or anything of that nature. But at some point, we've got to draw a line. We've got to start. This is, and I will be honest with you, a very lax pool law compared to other states. And we're just trying to do what we feel like is the bare minimum to protect these young children. We've got to understand for children under the ages of 5 years old, that is the leading cause of death. So we need to protect them. And on this, if it's a swimming pool, it would apply. If it's just a decorative pond, then that would be up basically to the definition of the builder and the homeowner. I would say, because there's so many variances. But we could sit here and delay this and delay this and delay this, and the whole time there's young children that are going to die, and we want to protect them. But on this, the decorative ponds and everything, if it's for swimming, it's a swimming pool, so they would fall underneath this. So would be my thing. I've worked diligently with LRC. We've worked on this bill for 2 years now, and they have, I won't call the staff, but she has spent many, many hours going through all the other 30 states that have these laws and everything. And this is the most concise law we could come up with to address an immediate problem that we could get on the books, and then look at this and see if there's other changes that need to be made. Then we can come back and adjust that. But I know I didn't really answer your question completely, but for the biggest part, a lot of these, what you're talking about, are on larger tracts of land, so the 10 acres will exempt that. But the other part is we are focusing on high-density areas. You buy a house, you've got young children in a subdivision, there's not a pool on the street, and then next summer, 1 or 2 pools pop up, your children are tempted to go over there. It may be their friends that have these pools, and it's just that attractive nuisance is what is the big problem in high-dense areas that usually do this. The Jenkins, that pool's right next door within probably 30 yards of their backyard or their house. So, that's our intent, is to look at the higher density places. And the other thing, too, for protecting homeowners, most of the homeowners don't realize they have a liability, and they think, well, I've got insurance. If they have not contacted the insurance company, then that insurance company will decline that claim, and they will not be covered. So we feel like if this is put into statute, that's another step to let the homeowners know. And most insurance companies, as a matter of fact, I got an email late yesterday evening from the Insurance Association, and they do support this bill, in the fact that they need to be notified, they need to be aware, and that it is it's a lot of times that the homeowners just don't realize it. So a lot of this is just an awareness too. But thank you.
All right, we have one more question, I think, from Representative Duplessis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Representative, for bringing this very needed bill I think we have a lot of different regulations in different communities, but as a state, we haven't really defined this, and we need to define it. And I think your bill does a good job of that. I do have a question, or maybe even a suggestion. I look forward to voting yes today and passing this, and hopefully the same on the floor. But with that said, talking about portable pools, I see a possible confusion in the portable pools thing. When we grew up as kids, a portable pool, you went to Walmart or Target, and there was a little plastic pool, and it was about this tall, and it was about 5 feet around, and you'd fill it up with a hose. You'd freeze because the water was cold, and then finally during the day, it'd warm up, and it'd get dirty, and you dump it out at the end of the day. That's what I see as a portable pool, but it's defined here as anything that's 2 foot or less. And in my mind, portable pools have changed a lot since you and I were kids. And now we have portable pools that blow up with air, and they have a built-in filter system, so that as it's only they might only be a couple feet tall, but they have their own filter. And those one brand I think of is Intex. I'm sure there are others. And those pools are circulating a filtered water through the system. They can stay clean, and therefore they don't have to be dumped at the end of the day. And they're larger than the 5 foot diameter pools that we would have bought at the store. So should this bill maybe add into the definition a portable pool is one that doesn't have filtration and should be emptied at the end of the day, to help, because folks that have these bigger airtight pools, they're not going to drain them every day because they're filtered, and they've spent a lot of extra money to get that, and they're a lot bigger and use a lot more water. So I'm just wondering if we should look at that. If you have a filtered pool that's staying full of water through the night, then you need to have a gate. You need to have a fence.
I agree with you 100%, and I in talking to our legal staff, a pool like that was not going to be emptied at night would be required. That would fall into the definition of pool under 48 inches. Therefore, it would require a fence around it.
So what if the pool is less than 24 inches, but it has the filter system?
That I don't know. Well, but I'm more than willing to.
I'm just thinking we might need to add some language that says if the pool is filtered.
Right. Okay.
And chemicals are added to keep it fresh, then I think we need to make sure that we're addressing that. It might be a loophole in the legislation we're trying to pass.
Right. Well, I always look forward to make a good law better. So I appreciate your input, and there again, it's something I'm open for discussion, and share your ideas with me. And if you'd like to put a floor amendment or something on that, we'd be willing to accept that.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Members, do we have any more questions? All right, we have a motion and a second. So, Mr. Secretary, please call roll.
Representative Blanton. Representative Dossett. Representative Duplessis.
Yes.
Representative Freeland.
Yes.
Representative Fugit.
Yes.
Representative Gentry.
Explain my vote, please.
Go ahead, sir.
I'm going to vote yes to move it on, but I do think we might be able to add some language here and there to make it a little better. So, but I'll be yes today.
Thank you.
Representative Gooch.
Yes.
Representative Hart. Representative Cook.
Yes.
Representative Lewis. Representative Maddox.
No.
Representative Massey. Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Minter.
Yes, and please let the record show that I'm present at the meeting today.
Representative Sharp.
Yes.
Representative Stevenson. Representative Tackett Lafferty. Representative Wesley.
Yes.
Representative Wheatley.
Yes.
Chair Thomas.
Hi. All right, it will pass, and we appreciate you presenting this. And Mr. and Miss Jenkins, thank y'all for being here, and we are so sorry for your loss of Ava Grace. And this is maybe this can get in the books and have her name there forever. So thank y'all for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, this time we're going to still jumping out of order. We're waiting on Representative Dawson a bit. So Representative Cook is here, so we'll have him and his guests come on down, and they will be presenting House Bill 345. Please make sure those green lights are on and introduce yourselves just for the record, if you would.
Good morning, Representative Cook, representing the 72nd District. I'll let Sergeant Major introduce himself.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Committee. Command Sergeant Major Jesse Withers, State Command Sergeant Major, Kentucky National Guard.
And if it's okay, I'll let Sergeant Major begin the testimony.
That'd be great. Thank you, sir.
All right. Chairman Thomas and other members of the VMAP Committee, once again, thank you for your long, outstanding support of our Kentucky National Guard's soldiers, airmen, civilians, families, veterans, and our military affairs employees and first responders and their families. Once again, truly humbled to be here representing the members, the soldiers and airmen of the Kentucky National Guard and their families who have humbly served when called upon. Once again, more importantly, I'm here to represent the approximate 730 state employees currently serving in the Kentucky National Guard, both as soldiers and airmen. House Bill 345 is truly taking care of those who have volunteered to take care of all of us. And with that, I'm open to your all's questions.
Well, let me just, so I had, took me a minute to wrap my head around this bill. I didn't understand what NCAP was, and so let me just kind of explain that to you all, and since we're all military minded in here, you'll understand this quickly. So you have orders and your job's protected. If you get military orders, we all know it's federal law, and states codified it as well, that you go, you fill your orders, and you come back, your job's there for you. This is for NCAP. So if you're out, you go to Fort Knox, you're coming back on Sunday, and you're getting off the 7-ton, you're getting off the bus or something, you break your leg, you're hurt, but your drill weekend's over. You go on what the National Guard with the reserves call NCAP, okay? And what we're doing here is we're protecting. So the same thing as you have your military orders, it would place you doing that. You're on NCAP. You can't go to your state government job that next day, and this would simply protect you so that your job is there once you're healed because you were hurt serving your country and doing your job during your weekend duty. You don't have to burn your state government, your personal days for that job, so that your military service does not affect what's going on with your civilian job in state government.
All right. Representative Fugit, would you want to turn on your mic and say that one more time?
Motion on the bill.
There you go. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Freeland. All right, we have a motion and a second. Looks like we do have at least one question. Representative Wheatley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for bringing this bill. Of course, I've dealt with this on the municipal level, so my question is, just to be sure, does this bill affect local governments, or is this just state employees who are members of the National Guard?
We have just state government.
I'm sorry?
It says in the bill, state government employees.
So it is just state government.
Yes,
so
sir.
if they come back, of course, I've worked with some JAG attorneys related to this issue when they come back to their local jobs or their municipal level, and I certainly would like to see this added to that level at some point, but thank you. It's a good bill.
Trying to text our next presenter. Oh, never mind. Perfect. Okay, we have a motion, a second. Do we have any other questions? Seeing none, Mr. Secretary, please call roll.
Representative Blanton, Representative Dossett, Representative Duplessis.
Yes.
Representative Freeland.
Yes.
Representative Fugit.
Yes.
Representative Gentry.
Yes.
Representative Gooch.
Yes.
Representative Hart. Representative Cook.
Aye.
Representative Lewis. Representative Maddox.
Yes.
Representative Massey. Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Minter.
Yes.
Representative Sharp.
Yes.
Representative Stevenson. Representative Tackett Lafferty.
Yes.
Representative Wesley.
Yes.
Representative Wheatley.
Yes.
Chair Thomas.
Aye. It shall pass. Well, thank you all. Sergeant Major, thank you for being here this morning. And Corianne, it's always great to see you too. So Alrighty. Please, for the record, note that Representative Dossett is here. Representative Dossett is up next, but as soon as you take a mic, we can give you an opportunity to record 2 votes if you'd like. We just heard from Representative Bridges on the swimming pool, Ava Grace's law, and then we just heard that one. And would you like to record any votes?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you, and I apologize for being late.
We understand.
Running the merry-go-round this morning, and record my presence, and also record a yes vote on House Bill 196 and a yes vote on House Bill 345.
Thank you, sir. Alrighty, at this time we have House Bill 101 in front of us, and this is a freedom flag that happened down in your community. So please explain that a little bit, and please proceed.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, members of the committee. On September 11th of 2021, there was a former, a past department president of the American Legion Auxiliary who lives in Oak Grove, Kentucky, who contacted me and shared with me that there was going to be a memorial service at Pembroke Elementary, which is where I live, and that it was a freedom flag. And with that, there was actually a piece of the debris from the Twin Towers. And it was brought there to the schools so that our young people would be able to see this display, because when you think of those in school right now, most never experienced what we did on 9/11. And the freedom flag was created by it's being worked with by what is called the Freedom Flag Foundation. And they actually donate the flags and put the programs together where they're able to go to the schools. And as I said, the goal is to make sure that our young people actually see the display and have that history continue to be shared with them. With the legislation, it says the flag may be flown along with the American flag on only on 9/11, so it is not mandated that it must be flown on that day, and it will make sure the information gets to the schools, to our school districts, that if they're interested in participating, that they could actually work with this group and be able to get the flags and actually maybe have the display come to their schools on 9/11 in the future. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right. Any questions, or can I entertain a motion, or? Got to have one or the other. I'm sorry. Was it Representative Freeland and Duplessis for a second there? So, all right. Now we're open to some questions. Does anyone have any questions for Representative Dossett? Like I said, this was Representative Dossett. I mean, there was a lot of people there at that ceremony that day.
Yes, the Lieutenant Governor was there on that day that we had the presentation. Yes,
and then I think we had representation from Fort Campbell military post over there too.
Absolutely.
So it was neat, and
it
I
was
look forward to it
remarkable display, and to see the young people actually. When we think of this, we can only imagine what our parents remember of the attack on Pearl Harbor, or our grandparents may remember, which is sort of the way we think of 9/11. And to imagine, as I said, our young people, those in school that do not have that, it just allows them to remember that happened. Also, that there were Kentuckians that participated there in New York City in the cleanup and actually in the rescue effort of the Twin Towers when they fell. And this has been done in the Commonwealth of Virginia. They actually have created this observance, and there is federal legislation that was filed on in 2020 by Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger and Representative Peter King, and it was called the Never Forget Act, and it is federal legislation in which the freedom flag nationally would be flown as a memorial on 9/11 each year.
Awesome. Well, then Kentucky can follow suit here. So, Mr. Secretary, if there's no other questions, I'll let him call roll.
Representative Blanton. Representative Dossett.
Aye.
Representative Duplessis.
Yes.
Representative Freeland.
Yes.
Representative Fugit.
Yes.
Representative Gentry.
Yes.
Representative Gooch.
Yes.
Representative Hart. Representative Cook.
Yes.
Representative Lewis. Representative Maddox.
Yes.
Representative Massey. Representative McCool. Representative Minter.
Yes.
Representative Sharp.
Yes.
Representative Stevenson. Representative Tackett Lafferty. Representative Wesley.
Yes.
Representative Wheatley.
Yes.
Chair Thomas.
Aye. All right. Congratulations. It's passed. We'll look forward to hearing it on the floor. All right. Committee members, too, remember next week is Veterans or Military Kids Day. There is actually a little blurb, and some of y'all have seen it on social media. I will see if Jessica can send it out to all members. If you don't mind sharing that on your social media platforms, and just it's encouraging people to sign up. We have till Friday for signups, and it'll be next Tuesday. But I'll have Jessica send that out, and if y'all could, it has a link to where you can sign up and everything. If y'all can share it on your social medias, that would sure help. So we'll look forward to having a lot of those kids in our room next week. So please be in attendance. But the meeting will be at 10 o'clock next week. With that, we stand adjourned.